have 30 attempted semester hours. If they have a 3.0, they're going to be able to obtain their bachelor's degree. They're going to be able to obtain the Hope Scholarship, because the good thing about these checkpoints, at 30, 60, 90 attempted hours, you can also gain the Hope Scholarship. Not only can you lose it, but you can gain it at 30, 60, 90 if you have a 3.0 GPA. Yes, ma'am.
So it's by hours, not in time length, and you have to support.
No, ma'am. This is kind of funny. The Hope Scholarship Program came about in 1992 or 3. I can't remember exactly what year. I think it was 93 was a graduating class. There's still some students that graduated in that year that are using Hope. They're taking one class a semester, maybe a class here or a class there. In the future, who knows, they could put award limits just so they can kind of figure out how much money they need for the program. But as it stands right now, there is no time limit. So again, this is a great way for a student that really needs a second chance. Again, those are core classes. They're transferable. Gainesville State, they're transferable. Piedmont, they're transferable. So they go towards graduation. You're not wasting anything because Hope Grant's paying it. Hope Grant's paying for those classes, and then you're going to transfer to that 4-year college, that 2-year college, or wherever, and they go towards graduation. I think this is a wonderful option for students. Again, showing this again, how you view your GPA on GA College 411. On the home page, under shortcuts, it says view your Hope GPA. We try to make it as simple as we can. We figure that GPA, so please use our calculation, not your hand calculation or someone else's, because we're the ones that determine if you're Hope eligible, so let us figure it for you. Financial aid that's based on need-based financial aid, of course, government-based. This is financial aid. It doesn't matter if you fill your FAFSA out February 1 when you get your W-2s, or if you wait and do it June 1st. It's not going to run out of money. If you're eligible for it, you're going to get your money. The Pell Grant. The Pell Grant's only ran out of money one time in history, and it was back in the 1970s. It's a very solvent program. They've got it down pat with the Department of Ed. There's some campus-based awards. This is where the federal government allots each campus so much money. And after the financial aid deadlines of the colleges, they award the monies to the students. Once they've awarded their monies to the students, they're out of money. So that's why they tell you meet the financial aid deadlines of the colleges, because you may qualify for FSEOG, you may qualify for LEAP grant or a Perkins loan, but if the college has already awarded all their monies, then you're not going to be awarded. Does that make sense? There's really nothing I can tell you about these programs. These are just need-based programs. They look at the neediest of students to award. There's nothing special about them. They're just for needy students that need financial aid, but there's nothing else special about them other than they're for needy students. But you have to fill out your financial aid. I'm not saying the FAFSA comes out January 1. I'm not saying when the Peach drops downtown in Atlanta to run home and fill out your financial aid, because you're not going to have your W-2s from work. But you know, when the financial aid deadline from the school is, you definitely need to have your FAFSA turned into that school. Otherwise, you might not be eligible. Yes, ma'am.
What is the deadline for completion of the application?
Say that one more time.
What is the deadline for completion of
It's different for every college. That's why I say you look at the school's website, or you go to GA College, because under financial aid, fees and financial aid, I forget exactly what it says, it'll tell you what their financial aid deadline is. And that's when they want you to have the FAFSA submitted. That's when they start packaging students and awarding the financial aid. So if you find out their deadline, typically some deadlines are March 15th, May 1st. If you beat that deadline, if you're eligible for it, you should get it, unless there's students that are more needy than you are, if that makes sense. That's the other hand. Yes, sir.
These are GPAs you have to do the FAFSA each year for the 4 years?
The FAFSA is an annual application, so you must do the application every year. Because you could be Pell eligible one year, and then next year, you could be determined not to be eligible. You must do it every single year. And a little bit more on the Pell Grant. I have just a little bit more, because a lot of people like to know what the Pell Grant is. This is for academic year, the year that we're in right now. The maximum Pell Award is $5,500. So that's basically $2,750 per semester. This is for a full-time student. This is where the EFC of the family is 0. So when you do the FAFSA, if it turns back that your EFC is 0, you're going to be awarded a Pell Grant of $5,500. Automatic. That's what the Pell Grant is. Now, there is a minimum award for the Pell Grant. It kind of fluctuates. So basically, if your EFC is 1,000, your Pell Grant is going to be $4,500. Your EFC can go anything from 0 to $99,999. Does that make sense? It kind of fluctuates how they factor that out. Your minimum amount that you can receive for Pell is $890. That's with an EFC of 4,610. Well, there should be a dollar sign, but that's based on 4,610. That's what that EFC is, and that's basically figured by subtracting $5,500 minus $890. It's a sliding scale. When you have 0 EFC, you get 5,500. 1,000 is 4,500. 2,000 would be 3,500. 3,000 would be 2,500. Does everybody understand how that works? And then the minimum amount they're going to give you for Pell, that's established by the Department of Education, is $890. And the EFC that would qualify for that would be $4,610. I have no idea how they said $809. I don't know if somebody just kind of reached in a hat, drew out a number and said, this is it. But that's how the Pell, that's how they work it.
Excuse me.
Yes?
What is EFC?
I'm going to mention that. I just had to tell that because that came up now. It's expected family contribution. How much your family can pay for your child's education. And when I say family, I mean parents' income, students' income. Expected family contribution.
So that includes the home scholarship, the basic contribution the student is getting?
No, sir. This is just income and assets. This is tax information. And hold off, you'll figure out more about the EFC in just a few minutes when we look at the FAFSA. We're going to that now. That's the last thing we talk about. The last thing we get before we get to that is the direct loan. And I'm really going through this because I'm more about fiscal responsibility. Don't borrow money unless you have to. There's 2 different types of loans. There's a subsidized loan. This is a need-based loan. This means you had some sort of need, so you're going to get some sort of Pell Grant. This means the interest is paid by the government while the student's enrolled at least half time. The other type of student loan is an unsubsidized student loan. This is not a need-based loan. This means the interest is paid by the student throughout. If the student chooses not to make quarterly payments on that interest, it'll just be accrued. And they'll make the payment when they start, they'll start making payments when they begin the repayment process, which will begin 6 months after graduation, or when they cease to be enrolled at least half time in college. The top part is just talking about interest rates. That's just for information purposes only. The only thing I really want to talk about on this slide is that it's estimated that the actual average student loan debt level for the class of 2007, our figures come every 4 years, so we'll get new data next year. For the class of 2007, is nearly $21,900. So about the average student debt level is close to $22,000. That's a lot of debt. I had a roommate in college. He's probably one of those students. He took the maximum student loan every semester, not for tuition, not for anything other than car payment, rent, bills, food, entertainment, computer. It was anything other than school. And he's still making loan payments. And I don't encourage that. You borrow what you have to pay for the student's education. Because it is